Namaste, Pranam, and welcome to the third edition of the Shadow Strategist. In this edition, we'll cover two big topics. Number one, firstly, a lot of people have been writing to us and asking us about why are we called the Shadow Strategists, why is our perspective from the dark and not necessarily by throwing light into something. So that's number one that we will try and cover. The second thing is that how do we gift wrap and return a 2.5 front gift to China? That's the meaty part of the conversation. Let's start with the former. Why are we the shadow strategists and why is our perspective from the shadows? Firstly, and this may sound like a repeat, but I would like to clarify to the well-wishers and subscribers to the channel. There is sharp light on China and on other geopolitical, geostrategic fronts on India. That sharp light, of course, reveals a lot of things. It also doesn't reveal a lot of things. Like we had said in the first time, the sharper the light, the darker the shadow. What I would like to cover in this channel, and I will keep reaching out to all of you viewers, is what is it that the dark is trying to say and the light is preventing it from saying? This channel is a story of the statements, the facts, the narratives that the shadows want to disclose. Bear with us as we keep rolling in this channel, and as you keep seeing more of us, you will understand why the shadow is very different. What the shadow says is the how, the why, the what's behind, the stories behind the perspectives that is revealed in this story. In the last two episodes, you would have seen why is Xi behaving the way Xi is behaving. We will explain and take this thing forward more. Coming to the second point, what is the 2.5 front gift that India can return to China, right? The smart strategicians that they claim themselves to be, the sons of Sun Tzu, they wanted to give a very interesting strategic perspective to India. Their strategy, which India deciphered as a 2.5 front war. What they wanted to do, the entire CPEC and the Border Roads Initiative that they did with Pakistan, was not because of their love from Pakistan or just because they wanted to get a road into Pakistan, through Pakistan into the Persian Gulf. Of course, those have economic relevance, but that I don't think was the only objective. The objective that they wanted to do was that they have a large front with India. The India-China border is a massive border that starts from the easternmost part of India where the sun first rises to the highest parts of India, Karakoram ranges, right? So it's a steep incline and a very long, very inaccessible border. They understand that we have an advantage on this side of the Himalayas and they have a substantial disadvantage on the other side of the Himalayas. So they realize that any inching, crawling, salami slicing strategy that they have on India, India will always have an advantage provided there is a political will to counter it. For the last 70 odd years, they were thriving on the fact that there was no political will. But they were very mindful that if there is ever a political will, it will not be possible for them to have a one-front war with India. So the idea, and every big rich guy likes to have a nice flunk, who would go and do your talking with them. Pakistan lend themselves as the world's best flunk. I mean, they have been doing that for the Saudis, now they're very happy to do that for the Chinese. Right? Anybody who throws a few dimes at a Paki, they'll be happy to be even an ATM guard. So the 2.5 front war, from the Chinese perspective, that they wanted to impose on India was China on one front, Pakistan on the other front. They also had an aspiration of trying to create unrest in Burma and have another front open for India to mess with, which was on the Burmese front. Luckily for us, the look east policy of the previous governments, and which got substantially strengthened with the current dispensation, blunted the Chinese third front proposition. That left China with a two-front thing. They added a nice dose of masala and sprinkling to create the other front, which we call as the half front. The half front is all internal, all within India. The Leh, the left liberal, and the so-called socialists, the so-called intelligentsia, the English literature guys from all the media institutes who, with all due respect, have not even contributed a single article to the National Geographic or any magazine or any publication of repute, but they call themselves intelligentsia, and we'll grant them that, and everyone has the right to do that. They are the other friend. How? Because of the unrest, the discord, the disruption that they create in India. Now one would always ask, what is the big deal if there is unrest in India while there is a two-front war going on? Hello, there is an entire logistics chain. Food has to move, ammunition has to move, replacement of soldiers have to move, evacuations of soldiers from the front has to move back. If there are tires burning on the roads, if there are people out on the streets throwing stones at each other, if there is huge internal disruption, if our police, the civil administration are all busy trying to douse internal fires while there is a large mess happening externally, the Chinese and the Pakis would have got a substantial advantage. That is why they call it the 2.5 front war. We, as an Indians, have been befuddled trying to rack our brains to see what is a counter to the 2.5 front war. So our entire military strategy, our wargaming effort has been to create a blunting force for the 2.5 front war. One of the things that we realized, the best way to do that, especially thanks to Mr. Xi Jinping, is that they presented us with a beautiful opportunity to gift wrap and give them back a 2.5 front strategy all of their own. One misstep into the Himalayas, and this is a repeat of what we said in the past episodes, one misstep from the Himalayas into India, Taiwan opens up, Mongolia opens up, Xinjiang opens up, Tibet opens up, Manchuria opens up, Sichuan opens up, Cambodia, Vietnam opens up. Everybody who has ever had a grouse against a tiny sliver of a country called China, the original China, the pre-1941 China, would now exert their muscle. This is the gift wrap strategy that India is doing. Oh, by the way, this is all land. We have forgotten one big thing. Modern China is trade. Of course, you move freight over flights, and there are aircrafts which carry stuff around. There's only so much that aircrafts can carry. The large bulk of freight happens on the seas. All sea routes to China, maybe 80% of all sea routes to China, flow through Malacca. Go look at a map. It's 80 kilometers from an Indian outpost in the Andamans. We choke them. Xi Jinping will be selling Sare Jahan Se Acha. That is the power that India has discovered now, and that comes from the entire outreach diplomatically and otherwise that has happened. I'm sure you would have followed on the media in the last few days. Maldives signing up with India. India, Taiwan, Japan and Australia having, along with the United States of America, forming a triad to say, you march ahead Taiwan, we are behind you, we will not let you bleed alone. We also know that the entire discussion of how we had to arm twist Malaysia, and we have a natural ally in Indonesia and in Philippines and in Vietnam, as to what that will do to the Southeast Asian nations and how they flex and receive India, right? This is the biggest, the massive counterweight that India has against China. You make a step and we'll make you walk back 10. Oh, by the way, when you have walked your 10 steps backward, you would see a very small little yourself. This is the other strategy. See the other story. Why exactly is China flexing its muscles, and why does it want to come and take over this side of the Himalayas? Look at the geography. All of China lies on the leeward side of the Himalayas. What does the leeward side do? They get all the cold weather and a lot of snow, but no water, no rains, not much monsoons that goes, or any form of rain that goes in their way for any productive use. Most of the major rivers originate this side of the Himalayas and flow. What China has been trying to do with their salami slicing is getting access to sweet water. The biggest story in this entire story, and this is where the shadow perspective comes in, is that the next world wars will be fought not for land, not for people, not for religion, not for culture, but for water. Potable, clean, natural drinking water. That is the root cause of every mess that China is trying to do. They can feed 1.5 billion people, but they can't get them to drink without an access into the Himalayas. With that, we come back to you with another episode, this time focusing only on the water part and how that is shaping international geopolitics world over. Meanwhile, we look forward to your perspectives, your comments. There's a comment section below us. Please talk back to us. Share your perspectives. That makes us richer, that gives us an access to come back to you with better episodes, more meaningful perspectives. Remember to like us, share us, give us a thumbs up, and do talk about us. Looking forward to hearing from you. Thank you.